Hey guys, alright, today we are back with another medieval video. They call it Middle Ages, medieval times, whatever the fuck you want to call it, honestly. There's kind of a difference with what the Middle Ages are. The Middle Ages, I think, typically are seen as a different time period than the overarching medieval ages, at least in my mind. That's how I look at it. I consider Middle Ages kind of 1000 to 1400, I'd say. Um, but also you could make the Middle Ages as an overarching term for year 500 to year 1453. I think I usually consider medieval ages kind of cutting off at 1453 with the use of the canon and the fall of Constantinople, as that was a major shift in time for history. But also you could first push that back to the 1490s when Columbus sailed the ocean blue and all that. But anyways, this is a video called "The Conspiracy Theory That the Middle Ages Never Happened." Don't think I have ever heard of this conspiracy theory. I'm curious what the hell is in this conspiracy theory. I want to know.
This video was made possible by Skillshare. Start learning for free for 2 months by being one of the first 1,000 to sign up at skl.sh/HAI33. Now, here at HAI, we don't want to spread conspiracy theories, but we do want to get lots of views in order to further our never-ending quest for money, power, and URL extensions that give us 2 free months of Skillshare, and so when we come across...
You know what? I respect it. Why I react to certain videos. Because I know those will get me views, which means more subscribers and more money. Money is good. Money helps me pay for things that I need, like finishing my degree.
Across a conspiracy theory that we want to tell you about because it's hilarious, we're in a conundrum. How can we make a video on it while maintaining our status as the preeminent source of super accurate, hard-hitting factual content on YouTube? So today, here's the plan. We're going to tell you about this very fun and very insane conspiracy theory, and then we're going to very clearly explain why it's not true, and along the way, we're going to learn a whole bunch about calendars. That's right, everyone, calendars.
Wait a second. I think I fucking heard of this theory before. I think I know this theory. Oh god, let's see if I'm right. Let's see if my brain is right.
Since the abacus. Alright, so the theory, which is known by the super credible sounding name the Phantom Time Theory, goes like...
I've heard this theory before.
This. The Middle Ages didn't happen. They were made up. That's right, according to this guy, Heribert Teelig, whose name...
Just his face alone tells you he's not crazy.
Sounds like a piece of IKEA.
He looks insane.
The years 614 to 911.
Oh, so that's the timeline we're going. So we're gonna say Alfred the Great didn't fucking exist? I don't take... There's one thing I do not allow. It is Alfred the Great slander. We don't allow it. This channel is full of Cato slander, right? If you've watched my reactions to Historia Civilis. We do Cato slander here. Cato deserves all the fucking slander. He sucks. But we do not accept Alfred the Great slander, alright?
Simply did not happen, but were instead invented by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII, because, I mean, if you're gonna do a conspiracy theory, go big or go home.
Damn right.
Now, you might ask, why would 2 kings and a pope invent 3 centuries of night, pillaging, and cholera?
It's hard to really call. I mean, from, I believe, the dictionary, like, description of a knight, I guess technically, like, a knight is like a nobleman, pretty much, that fights. Is really what I would kind of consider, like, a very oversimplification of what a knight is. But also, the knights that you think of, the stereotypical knight of the Middle Ages or the medieval times, is really kind of the knights of the 13 and 1400s, and not the noblemen that went to war in this time period that they're doing, the 600s to 900s. Yeah.
Well, according to eLeague, Otto, Constantine, and the Pope were actually alive in the early 700s, but wanted to live in the year 1000 AD because, and this is true, round numbers are cool. Plus, they could create a fake historical record full of their own personal Charlemagne-based fanfiction that would strengthen Otto III's claim to the Holy Roman Empire. The evidence, and I'm using the word evidence very lightly, for the phantom time hypothesis lies on 3 pillars. First, there isn't a lot of existing archaeological evidence from the supposed period of time from 614 to 911. Second, 10th century Western Europe is littered with Roman architecture, which eLeague says doesn't make sense given that the Roman Empire fell in 475 AD, supposedly over 400 years prior. And the final reason has to do with calendars. That's right, folks, try to hold in your excitement because it's finally calendar time.
Yay.
Now, the Earth rotates 365.24219 times each year, which is pretty close to 365.25, so we round up and pretend it's 365 and a quarter, which means every 4 years we have an extra day, which we account for with a leap day. But the thing is, it's not actually 365.25, it's 365.24219, which is 0.00781 less. That may not sound like a lot, but every 128 years, that 0.00781 adds up to a day, which means that every 128 years, we should subtract a day to keep on track. But the Julian calendar didn't account for that, so between when it was introduced in 45 BC and when the new Gregorian calendar was introduced in 1582 to fix the problem, 1,627 years had passed, or about 13
Oh, I'm not good at math.
of 128 years, which meant that the Julian calendar should have been behind by about 13 days. But it turned out, and try to stop your brain from exploding here,
Too late.
the Julian calendar was actually only off by about 10 days, and because each of those missing days takes 128 years to accumulate, that means there's 300-something years unaccounted for. By the way, if you're wondering, the Gregorian calendar fixes the problem by skipping a leap day every 100 years, but then adding it back in every 400 years, which still means we're behind by a day every 1,000 years, but the world probably only has a few decades left anyways, so,
Yeah, probably.
c'est la vie. So that's the theory. It's probably got you given a big Now let's talk about why it's not true. First of all, even if there isn't a ton of archaeological evidence, there still is some, and we have reliable ways of dating these artifacts through both carbon dating and looking at tree rings, which can also be called dendrological dating if you're pretentious. Second, the Roman architecture
If you're
in 10th
pretentious,
century
I like
Europe. So yeah, have you noticed how there's Roman columns and arches like everywhere? The White House, Buckingham Palace, the Arc de Triomphe, Townsville Hall from the Powerpuff Girls. There's still Roman architecture being built today, so yeah, people also built it in the 900s. Third,
I mean, not wrong. Definitely they would use. They certainly used old Roman buildings and structures and fortifications. Because they already existed. Why not use something that already exists? It made sense. It meant costs were cheaper. Of course, though, there would be new things built, obviously, in that design because of, people's obsession with Latin and stuff. At least the nobility and the church's obsession with Latin.
Third, the calendars. For an apparent calendarothemist, eLeague weirdly didn't realize that the Gregorian calendar wasn't trying to reset things to 45 BC when the Julian calendar was introduced, but rather to 325 AD, which is when this thing called the Council of Nicaea met and did some calendar fixing. They didn't reset things all the way back, which accounts for the missing 300-odd years of date shifting. And believe it or not, there are even stronger pieces of evidence that this whole thing is impossible, most notably astronomy. You see, certain astronomical events are highly predictable. For example, for complicated astronomy reasons that I totally definitely understand but don't have the time to explain, we know with absolute certainty that there must have been a solar eclipse over Campania, Italy between 7 and 8 a.m. on April 30th, exactly 1,961 years ago. And we know that a guy named Pliny the Elder recorded exactly that in 59 AD, which means that 59 AD must have been 1,961 years ago. If the phantom time hypothesis
This is more science than medieval times. My head hurts, dude.
this were true, that eclipse would have happened in 238 BC, and Pliny the Elder couldn't have recorded it because he wasn't elder at all at that point, or even existent.
You
If
dead?
that didn't make sense to you,
No, wait. He was not alive yet.
maybe this will. all of the rest of the world also records that 614 to 911 happened. Otto and the Pope would have to convince ancient Arab writers to make up Muhammad, convince the English to fabricate most of the Anglo-Saxon period,
Yeah.
and convince the Chinese to invent the entire Tang dynasty, which is a level of coordination that seems unlikely, especially considering I can't even figure out how to do a multi-person Zoom call.
True.
If you're on Zoom calls a lot because you're stuck at home,
And that's the transition to end of the video. Let's end up with the Tang Dynasty here. So that wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting so much science. But I guess that also makes sense because kind of you need science to disprove a theory about, you know, like this, right? You can't just, I mean, even though I've got the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles, hold on, let me see. It's like, my copy is, come on, it's inverted. It's up there where my finger's pointing. I have, fuck. My copy is right up there somewhere. And so it's like it's a early translation. It's like an 1821 translation of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles. But yeah, I have nothing here to add. I was expecting more talk about like medieval sources and not actually like scientific time, whatever. This is just, I'm just ooh, flies right when science gets involved. It kind of flies right over my head. I was not good in science. I sucked at science. Science was probably my worst subject in school. Like I just suck at it. But yeah, I guess that was the conspiracy theory that the middle. Ah! I can't even do words now. The conspiracy theory that the Middle Ages never happened. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.